Welcome to the Santa Maria Baseball Podcast here on Review and Preview. I'm Andrew Scarpaci alongside Anthony Hines. A lot of news in Yankees land between last night and this morning, and I don't even know where to start, but yes, we do. The Yankees land Juan Soto, biggest news of the offseason so far. Obviously, all the Ohtani talk went out the window the last couple days. Maybe not, but at least in terms of national baseball news, this is finally the story. And where are we now with this?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a trade that a lot of Yankee fans were hoping for. We were hoping to get Juan Soto. We needed a left fielder. And here we are.
Beautiful piece to add to this lineup. Definitely going to be in that 3-hole. I would have to imagine you can break down the righties and lefties. You don't have too many lefties right now. That was obviously the piece that we needed to go along with the left fielder, and it couldn't really be a perfect spot. The one thing I was saying is I want Soto, but he's not worth it to overpay. I don't think he's a top 5 player in the game, maybe top 10. But I said, if we can get him without getting rid of Volpe and Dominguez, that's the move. And I think we did. It was perfect because I don't think we overpaid. We kept Volpe and Dominguez. We gave up some good pieces, but I think that was a much more than fair trade for both sides.
Yeah, and I mean, we gave up not much. I mean, Michael King is a great starter. We gave up, of course, because I'm looking at the details now.
Couple good pitchers, Johnny Brito and Michael King.
You gave up King. We also gave up Kyle Higashioka, which, you know, we had 2 catchers on the roster already, so we needed to give up another one. You have Randy Vasquez as well. So.
Yeah, I think Trevino and Wells would be a great 1-2 combo because Trevino, he'll be inconsistent hitting-wise. I think he'll have a bounce-back season offensively. Still a terrific fielder. And then Austin Wells is developing into a great piece, great backup catcher as of now. He can learn some defensive things from Trevino, and I think his bat will just develop with time. How's your internet looking?
Yeah.
Did you hear that or no?
Honestly, there's been, and this is bad to say, but this is like, there's been double feedback, so I've been hearing you twice. But
okay, so in terms of Tom, incredible trade. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a terrific trade for both sides. You had, in terms of where everybody was, the pieces we gave up really was not that bad. Yes, Michael King, he's been getting better every year. He's been with the Yankees a couple years now, up and down from the minors, but he was a piece that we could definitely afford to give away. The pitching isn't 100% there yet. We know the pitching can improve, but this is the start. Now we got Soto. If we can worry about that, focus on the pitching next, and I think the Yankees are doing a terrific job with that. But in terms of how dangerous this lineup is, if everyone's healthy and producing, it's there. But obviously, if Stanton's injured, we got to work around that. I think DJ is going to have a bounce-back season. I think Torres is getting better every year. He's finally back to where he was around his prime back in like 2018-19 when he first got called up. But I think if everyone's healthy, this is probably going to be a top 3 lineup in baseball.
yeah, I also fixed my feedback. It was my bad. I had 2 tabs open without realizing it. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at least I think a much more balanced lineup now. You have Soto, you have Verdugo, which a lot of people weren't really talking too much about the Doogie trade. I think he's going to be, you know, maybe not on the superstar level for us, but he'll be a guy that, you know, we can play in right field, move Judge to be full-time center until we figure out the Dominguez situation going in the future. And depending on who you start at catcher, whether it's Wells or Trevino, you're looking at a pretty balanced lineup with about 3 or 4 guys that can bat lefty for you, because you also got Trent Grisham in that trade as well. He's another guy that can either fill in as a DH or could possibly give Judge a day off in center if needed.
I'll be honest, I didn't think we were going to get Soto after we got Verdugo. I thought it was going to be one of those Brian Cash moves where it's we got our guy, we don't need the guy, we got our guy. But
yeah,
it was a shock. I did not expect it to happen the day after.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was kind of surprised. I thought, okay, I guess we're pivoting away from Soto. Maybe we'll think about getting Bellinger possibly and try to
Bellinger's
like
off the
figure
table
that
now.
out.
He's off the
But
table now,
yeah,
obviously.
with Soto coming in, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Belly's no longer any rumors of speculation of him going to the Yankees is pretty much dead. I think I mean, I honestly, it became a meme at that point where it was like, oh, we need Juan Soto. We have Juan Soto at home. Juan Soto at home. Alex Verdugo. But you know, credit to Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner. They got the deal done. Um, at first, we thought that this was going to be a foregone conclusion. Soto was going to be a Yankee. Then there was some stalling with whether or
The
not the
medicals,
Yankees were not only just the medicals, but whether or not the Yankees were willing to trade Michael King because they wanted to originally include Clark Schmidt in this deal as opposed to Michael King. And then once the Blue Jays got involved, and there was talks about Alek Manoah possibly with Juan Soto for that, along with a couple other pieces, that's when I think Hal just basically gave the green light to Cashman. Just do whatever you have to do to get this deal done, regardless of the players. We'll figure that out.
no, I'm pretty sure it was Steinbrenner who said Dominguez and Volpe off the table. I would rather that have been Cashman's call and not Steinbrenner's, but it probably was because there were reports that they were in discussions. And I just said from the beginning, Soto was a great piece. He would be perfect for Yankee Stadium, but he's not worth giving up Volpe and definitely not Volpe and probably not Dominguez.
Yeah, no, you're not giving up your core future there. Obviously, if you gave up Volpe, you kind of screw yourself because you don't really have. I mean, unless you played Peraza at short, you kind of
Or
didn't really
Torres.
have, or Torres, which
Torres at
we've
short and
seen.
Dier and DJ at second.
Oh god, that's a nightmare. Uh, no, I again credit to Cashman. They got it done. Yes, you give up, like we were talking about before, you give up promising pitchers in Brito, and obviously King was starting to show signs that he could be a good number three or a good number four in rotation, or even arguably a number two, depending on where he was. But I I think like you were saying when we opened up, I think we really didn't overpay. I think it was a fair price. Yes, again, we're giving up some young talent, but this is a generational bat.
Maybe,
Not
maybe
Shohei
this means
Ohtani
we
level, but
are
still.
getting Yamamoto because if we did trade a couple pitchers that were going to be on the roster, who knows?
I mean, it's certainly on the table. Obviously, the bidding is going to be very competitive with the Mets, the Red Sox, among other teams involved there. I think the Yankees have a chance. I know they're meeting with him on Monday. I believe Hideki Matsui is going to be there as well to talk that out, which was part of the reasons why a couple years ago we ended up getting Tanaka when Masahiro Tanaka came over was because of Hideki Matsui being there. So I'm
I
not
know
saying that it's
many
a
years he
foregone
was a
conclusion,
Yankees.
but
He was a Japanese broadcaster for the Yankees. I don't know if he
yeah,
still does that.
I believe he's a special advisor now for the Yankees as opposed to anything else. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion that Yamamoto will indeed be a Yankee, but coming off of the Juan Soto
Yeah.
high, I feel pretty good about it.
But in terms of this outfield now, you have Juan Soto in left, you have Judge in center, and probably Verdugo in right, and then you still have Dominguez. You probably have Cabrera. Yeah, Cabrera is still going to be your utility guy, your IO guy, infield, outfield.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably have either Dominguez or Florio on the lineup to start the year as a bench reserve guy. And then if whoever's in the minors, it's probably going to be a bounce back and forth. Whoever's doing good in the minors is going to get called up, and whoever's struggling in the majors is going to get called down. They'll probably be flipping back and forth the whole year. So you're consistently going to have probably at least five outfielders on this roster plus Stanton.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, like you were saying, the starting outfield of Soto, Judge, Verdugo. You're gonna have Grisham on the bench because you didn't just acquire him to put him in your
Yeah.
minors. He's arguably a Gold Glove caliber type of defender and center, but he's good. Obviously, you're stuck with that contract with Giancarlo Stanton.
I don't get why people
I
are
don't
saying that. Like
like the
he
thing
could
is,
still have a 40 homer year.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that he's garbage. Like, you'd be ridiculous to try to trade or let go of him, but the problem
Well,
is,
no one's going
it's
to take him to
trying
that
to.
contract without overpaying. And people that are saying cut him, I think that is the dumbest move ever
No,
because you're not
it's a
saving the money.
waste.
It's a waste of money. He's not a bad person to have on the roster spot because either he's in the lineup producing or he's going to be on the IL, and you can still have someone on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's going to be on the opening day roster. Obviously, it just comes down to how are the Yankees going to manage him. I mean, are you gonna entertain playing him in the outfield again?
You probably
Are
don't
you
need to
going
anymore.
to like
If
now?
you
Yeah,
well,
because now you
obviously,
have
yeah.
Grisham, now you have Soto. There's no point to put Stan in the outfield. But then at the same time, now your DH is constantly getting clogged up by Stan, which again, we know he can hit. It just comes down to if you need to give a guy a day, but still want his bat in the lineup, you're gonna have to sacrifice taking Stan out.
Well, that or if you want to give someone else a day off, you can just he could flop with Soto for a day. Like there's no reason why once a week one of them you can't rotate the other outfielders in the DH spot and put him in either left or right.
If you're gonna do that, you gotta put Stan in right field because we've seen it. He cannot play left field at
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium. I mean, we've seen Doogie play left at Yankee Stadium as part of the Red Sox.
Yeah. Plus, if you need, you could always move Judge to center or Judge to right and someone else to center for a day. I'm trying to think who else could play center field.
Grisham can play
Yeah.
Grisham can play all over, primarily center.
Okay, so that's the move. If you the everyday lineup is Griffin on the bench with Stanton at DH, Soto, Judge, Verdugo. If you need to give Soto a day off and left, you put Grisham there. If you want to give Judge a day off, you can put him there. And if you want to give Verdugo a day off, you can put Grisham in center and Judge in right.
Yeah.
And then either way, if one of them are getting a day off, if you want to put one of them at DH, you can always just put – that's what it was. If you want to give Verdugo a day off, you could either put Judge in center, Judge in right, Grisham in center, and then what am I saying? And Judge at DH or Verdugo at DH, whoever you have switching off.
Yeah. I'm sure Booney will figure it out, but
I guess that's why you have the extra outfielders now because you have that option. And then
I mean, the Yankees have always been the team to carry like 4 or 5 outfielders on bench.
Yeah, you always need 4 total at least. But I mean, even in having like a utility guy like Cabrera, because you don't really have a lot of depth in the infield right now. Because it depends. It's going to be the same thing with Peraza too. Like one of them is going to be on the roster, one of them is going to be in the minors probably. Because you have Rizzo at first, you have LeMahieu at third, Volpe at short, and Torres at second. And then, if you want to give Torres a day off, you could always put LeMahieu at second, and then you would either have Cabrera or Peraza play third, whoever's on the roster.
If they want to give them a shot, which I don't think is terrible. Obviously, we were also talking about before that the Yankees, should end up landing Yamamoto, but I feel like we should also turn our attention to third base. Because I know we were talking about LeMahieu playing there, but would you rather have him at third? Would you rather have him at second? I know the Yankees were talking about Gleyber Torres getting moved, but
that's the thing. Well, you want both. I mean, you need DJ's bat. DJ is a Gold Glove level second baseman, but if he's the everyday second baseman, what do you do with Torres? He can't play the everyday DH when you have Stanton there. So I think DJ's not bad defensively at third. So I think if you want DJ's bat in the lineup, it would make sense to have him at third and sacrifice the second base defense just a little bit.
And either you do that or what I think they're going to do is they're going to probably shop Torres, see if they can clear that spot, and then if they're smart, I think they try to go after a guy like Matt Chapman. You need somebody who can fortify defense at third, platinum glove caliber type guy. Maybe won't hit, like 300, but he'll hit like 240, 250, drive in like 90.
80. Yeah.
80, 90, hit like 20, 25 bombs. Like
probably more in Yankee
Probably
Stadium.
more in Yankee Stadium, yeah. I think if they're smart, they'll try to go after Matt Chapman.
He's a free agent now, right?
Yes, currently a free agent since being with Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, if you sign Matt Chapman, then – but again, how many blockbuster free agents can you really sign in 1 year?
I mean –
They did it in 2009.
Hal's already said that
they struggled all those years, and then they just signed everybody and won. And that was it. That was the last time they won.
So Hal said that he's willing to go past the $300 million payroll.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting to a point that Steinbrenner is sick of losing and realizes, hey, Yankees fans are also sick of watching a
Yeah,
product
now
that
that the
can't
Mets are
win.
spending this much money, the Mets have never been a team that consistently spent more than the Yankees, and I don't think that's a track record they want to keep for too long.
Exactly. So I would not be surprised if Hal just keeps the checkbook open and gives this blind, or not blind, this blank check to Brian Cashman and just says, "Go get what you need."
Yeah, so say hypothetically you sign Matt Chapman, then he'd be the everyday third baseman. DJ would probably move to, or no, yeah, DJ would move to second.
Then you trade Torres to
Yeah,
free
but
up that
I don't know
spot.
about
But
trading Torres though, because I feel like he's more valuable than we would get for him. Because I feel like teams would. Now, there's definitely a team that would probably overpay for him, but
I
he's
mean,
not a
I've
player I would want to
seen.
see go. He's a guy who I've liked seeing develop over the years. But
Well, yeah,
baseball
he's
wise, that
he's a
probably
glue
would be
guy,
a good.
but
That probably
it
would be
comes
a
to a
good
point.
move.
He is a glue guy, but it comes down to whether or not, can he continue to impact the team? Which, yes, I think he can. However, at some point, you have to evaluate your roster overall and realize that with LeMahieu being obviously locked up for the next couple of years, and Torres is, I believe, coming into a walk year, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I've seen a lot of chatter of Torres to the Mariners. I've seen a lot of apparently the Yankees have been talking with the M's about him, and the Mariners do have a glaring hole at second base, so it does make sense. But
Yeah, I
it,
think
it's gonna
this
it's
is
gonna come
this is
down to whether or not they do go after Chapman. Because if they do, I think Torres is as good as gone. If they don't, I do see what you were saying prior with LeMahieu at third and Torres at second to start the year.
Yeah, it does look like Torres' contract. Yes, okay. This is his final arbitration year. So yeah, he's a free agent after this season. But yeah, because I was thinking he played 6 years. So that would have been all 6 years. But he had there were a couple years where he didn't play a full season, so he probably missed out on. Because I know 2020 everyone got a full year of eligibility. He didn't play a full season 20, but he played substantial games every year. So I'm surprised he has another arbitration year. It's got to just be a matter of playing time, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely something on playing time, but it's going to come down to how they
I've never
evaluate
even
him,
heard of
and
fourth arbitration. I thought it stopped at three, but
usually it usually stops at three, but I
it
guess
says
not.
arbitration 4 this year. So yeah, it had to be a playing time thing.
I guess so, but yeah, I think if they go after Matt Chapman and they land Matt Chapman, I think Torres is as good as gone.
Yeah, I would probably definitely agree. What teams do you think would want a middle infielder
I mean, obviously the
that's ready to
Mariners.
compete? Yeah.
Um, I could possibly see the Giants. I think San Francisco would need a power bat. Depending on what happens with Otani, I think Torres would be a good fit for them as well. And I was gonna say the Dodgers
But
up
Brandon
until
Crawford's got to
yesterday,
retire
but
soon.
yeah. Well, Crawford's a free agent right now, actually. So
I can't see him playing anywhere but San Francisco.
yeah, and neither can I. But
If he doesn't sign with San Francisco, I think he retires.
it's kind of like Joey Votto with the Reds. You can't see him play anywhere else. But
Who's
I
their second
was
baseman right now?
I I want to say Lamont Wade Jr., but I'm not sure. I actually don't know. But I was also going to say the Dodgers. However, the Dodgers just recently, Dave Roberts said that Mookie Betts will be the everyday second baseman for the Dodgers going forward, since they have Jason Hayward now in right. So, I mean, if anything, maybe Torres to the Brewers makes sense. If you're able to, and this is going to be crazy, but full Yankee
Has
bias and
anyone ever won a
everything,
Gold
but
Glove in the infield and the outfield?
uh,
I doubt it.
don't know. I don't think so.
I think Mookie Betts is going to win one
I think he will, but
at
I
second
would
base.
not
I
be
think he wins one at
surprised
second
if
base.
I would not be surprised if the Yankees try to pull off another blockbuster and get Corbin Burns from the Brewers and somehow include Gleyber Torres in it. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, but but the Brewers want to compete though. Why would they give up their best pitcher?
Well, they do want to compete, but they have been shopping Corbin Burns. There's been a fallout between the two sides, especially since arbitration for Burns. And you can kind of tell that Burns doesn't really want to be in Milwaukee anymore. Sure, he won't publicly say it, but there's sort of like a
He's not James
distrust with
Harden.
the yeah. There's sort of like a distrust between him and the organization. Almost kind of like a Josh Hader type of situation with the Brewers. So I would not be surprised if Burns gets traded.
So if the Brewers were to give up Corbin Burns and Josh Hader, other than Gleyber Torres, what other pieces would they want?
Gotta be honest. I mean, you're probably seeing Clark Schmidt go.
Yeah.
Um, I think you probably. I would not be surprised if you see Ron Marinaccio as well. I think Marinaccio would be a guy that they would covet. And I think you're either giving up either
Castro.
Peraza or Castro's also a guy, but I think you're also giving up either Peraza or Cabrera. I
Yeah,
think
it'll
one
probably
of
be.
those guys has to
Yeah.
go if that's the case.
But in terms of the other moving pieces in this trade, so Michael King, we've talked about everyone a little bit, but I mean, I I'm not that disappointed. Like all these guys were like, I was excited to see Brito's potential. Because he was up and down, he was injured, and then he came back. He had a couple really good starts, then fell off a cliff, came back and was okay. He's someone I would have wanted to see continue and progress his career with the Yankees, but I'm more than satisfied trading him for Soto.
Yeah, I think it works out beautifully. With Michael King, he was always a dominant reliever, became a starter towards the end of the year because we needed innings out of our rotation. And he was pretty good. So I had hopes that he would be in our rotation next year. Obviously, it's not the case now, and I'm completely okay with it, especially if you're landing a superstar like Soto for him. But I mean, I'm kind of sad to see Higgy go. I mean, I understand that we had the catching situation. I think Wells is probably going to start the season as our catcher, our starting catcher, with Trevino as a backup, but which obviously left Higgy nowhere to play.
Higgy was hot
But
garbage.
yeah,
He
but I
was
mean, he was 15 years in the organization for the Yankees, a
yeah.
guy that was a Yankee lifer,
He
got the
was
starting year
never
job
good.
for a year.
He had maybe
Yeah,
one good week every season.
yeah, I mean, he wasn't
He
ever a
was horrible.
superstar, all-star caliber player. You expected about 200, 210 out of him with like 9 or 10 home runs when like 30 RBIs. That's what you expected out of Higgy. But you weren't really expecting him to hit. You were expecting him more for his knowledge of game calling as well as his defense. And he was always not elite, not by any means, but he was always a consistently good defender.
I mean, he can go. I'm not complaining.
I just wonder how Garrett Cole's feeling.
He liked working with Trevino though.
Yeah, no, he did, but he was at one
I
point
think
Higgy
Austin
was his
Wells has
personal
so much
catcher.
more. Austin Wells has so much more potential than Higgy. Like Higgy
Oh,
has had
100%.
Higgy's had 15 years to prove himself, and he hasn't proven a thing. He's only been in the roster up and down whenever we had no catcher.
Or injuries and whatnot, yeah. But
Like now we don't now he doesn't even have now he can't mess us up. Now there is no resort to going back to him, which I'm happy with. Again,
yeah,
like the
now
guy.
he's replacing Gary Sanchez again as the starting catcher, but it's for the Padres instead of the Yankees. Talk about that irony.
They're back together.
Nah, Sanchez is a free agent.
Oh well, I could see him going. No, probably not. I
I
have
think
no idea.
Sanchez will get some type of one
Back
or
to the
2 year deal.
Yankees.
Oh God, no. We don't need him. We have 2 guys ready. At
He's a
that
better
point,
hitter than.
it's.
Well, maybe not. Wells has time to prove himself, but he's a better hitter than Trevino.
I think Wells is going to have a good spring and he'll start as the catcher for the Yankees. I just think it makes sense.
I think day one Cole's gonna want Trevino.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, they're going to pair the two up during spring training to see and work it, but that's far in the future right now. But I think the Yankees are going to want Wells in there because they'll have a balanced lineup.
Yeah.
Because you'll have Rizzo, Verdugo, Soto, and then Wells does a switch hitter. So if you're facing a right-handed starter, you have
No
now
matter
four
what, you'll
lefties in
have
the lineup.
no matter what, you'll have 5 and 4 the right way.
Exactly. And now Aaron Boone can mix and match as he pleases, which is something that for the last couple of years the Yankees lacked, and that was that power, not only power but contact left-handed bat as well.
Ever since Gardner left.
Yeah, ever since Gardy, there hasn't really been a balanced lineup for the Yankees. It's been one or two lefties and then like seven right-handeds. Like that, you can't win games if you don't have a balanced lineup. We've seen that time and time again.
I'm pretty sure there are exceptions.
Well, yeah, there's obviously exceptions, but you want to have a
But I
balanced
don't know
lineup
if the
because
lefty
you,
righty thing matters that much anymore because you can't even you have to wait 3 hitters, 3 batters before you can change pitchers anyway.
I mean, it's not so much about the reliever rule with it. It's more about being able to balance your lineup, allow um, whoever you're facing to not see like, okay, three righties in a row or three lefties in a row. Now it's right, or left, right, left, depending on how you construct the lineup. And you could really, it gives not only the pitcher a different look of like, oh crap, I have to figure out how to navigate this, but it also gives kind of an easier advantage to a team because you're able to now size it up from both sides of the plate and see how you can not only attack the guy, but continue to keep the line moving. So I like it.